I'm going to give you a demonstration as to why castling is not always a good idea. Now, I'm going to play both white and black so you can see both sides. Okay? You can see how white plays and how black plays. Okay? Now, I've started with a rare move which I happen to be trying out at the moment, which is considered bad, but which I happen to like, for reasons that will become apparent later. Okay? So first of all, I have moved the pawn from here to from h2 to h4. Now, let's look at how I responded to this. This is a standard response, so white is how I would play specially, and black is how a normal player would play based upon their training in many cases. I have deliberately made one deliberate mistake with black to show you how powerful a pawn can be, and to show you why castling can sometimes be a very bad idea. Okay? Okay, I'm now going to move the pawn up. Again, it just doesn't look very threatening, it's just a pawn. Black moves a knight out, just to defend various pieces. Now, I'm going to move the pawn up again. This looks suicidal. Am I stupid? Why would I want to even do this? Black takes the pawn. Now, on the surface I'm a pawn down. Why was I that stupid? Well, the answer is I wanted to open up the G file. Okay? There was a reason for this. It wasn't stupidity. Now, I'm going to start doing things which are just not really of any benefit, just to look as if I'm playing normally. Okay, so I now again seem to be offering a pawn again. Pawn takes pawn. I ignore it for now. This is just to distract the player as to what I'm actually up to. Again, they now move their knight out. Okay, I now threaten the knight. They then try to check me. I'll admit this is a bad move, but there's a reason for why I've done this. It is to demonstrate and to get the pawn in a certain place. I'll admit that black will be playing quite badly now, and that is deliberate, just to show you something. Now I'm threatening the bishop. Okay. They've took the pawn to protect the bishop. Okay, and they're willing to lose their knight. But what they don't realise is that losing their knight could be potentially very catastrophic, but we'll see why in a moment. Now, I take the knight with a pawn. Now that pawn is more lethal than you're ever going to guess. Now, this is where black does an incredibly stupid move. Again, I've moved for both sides, so did this on purpose, okay? But I've seen this happen in many games that I've played against people, where people have genuinely castled, even though it's utterly stupid to do so, based upon the position they're in. So now, black thinks it's being clever. Black now believes that, you know, it can just take the queen off with the pawn, and it can threaten my and also it believes it can soon get me in check with a rook. Okay, so black's thinking in castling is that they can move their rook out to put me in check, and then maybe in some way work out a way of getting rid of that pawn, take the pawn off in some way, and then later somehow checkmate me in some way. But what they don't realise is, by actually castling, it is now game over for them. They have immediately lost the game immediately, and there is absolutely nothing they can do about it. After castling in this position, the only thing they should do is resign immediately, or hope I make a mistake, because now you're going to see the absolutely catastrophic move I'm going to do, and you'll be surprised how many times I've seen people in this kind of situation and they've done exactly what you're about to see. This is because they've been told castle early. They've been told castle at the earliest available opportunity. However, I'm going to show you how catastrophic that castling was. Right, now I've moved the queen. Check. The only thing that the king can do is move the king. That's the only thing that black can do. So the only thing that black can do, is move the king. Black cannot take off the queen. They cannot move any other piece. Black has to move the king. And worse than that, black can only move the king to one specific square. As you can see, by castling, black has completely pinned themselves in, where they can only move to one square and one square only. This was the only place they could move to. Now, they had no choice. Now, they cannot win. I move the queen up, checkmate, protected by a pawn. So with just a pawn and a queen, I got checkmate. Based upon them stupidly castling, because they've been advised in many books to castle as soon as possible, and because they didn't notice how lethal the G column was. So be careful of that. Be careful before you castle and ask yourself, could I be putting myself in a similar vulnerable position? You'd be surprised how many people have fallen for what I've just done, or something very similar, because they didn't understand the power of a pawn and a queen being in that exact square. You would be surprised how many people have fallen for it, especially when I was losing badly, and then they just suddenly castle for no reason, and suddenly I was able to get checkmate in a similar way to that. But if they hadn't castled, I wouldn't have been able to do so. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope you learnt something. Okay, bye.